El futuro tiene nada más que la confrontación.
Hey, welcome to You Don't Even Like This Show. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown. I used to host a podcast called Unpopular Opinion, and that podcast was this podcast. But then everyone else in the world decided they liked the name Unpopular Opinion a lot too, so we changed the name to You Don't Even Like This Show. Each week, me and a couple of guests selected from a pool of the absolute sharpest minds the LA entertainment scene has to offer use this here space to talk about whatever the hell we want. News, pop culture, politics, information, you name it, we talk about it. And sometimes my co-host Jeff May is here too. It's a blast. You're gonna love it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to You Don't Even Like This Show, a podcast about guns, knives, weapons, cakes, foods, whatever the fuck we want to talk about. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown. Joining me as co-host this week, my favorite co-host of all, no co-host, but I do have a couple of fantastic guests. Case in point, back for the first time in a long time, Keith Carey's here.
Hey, everybody.
Keith, how's it going?
It's going good, man. I'm excited to be back. I love this is the first time I'm seeing your crazy fucking glitter nonsense setup you got going on here. It's excellent.
Yeah, this is a whole room of my house. I just defaced so I can do this shit.
It looks like the French flag with just a bunch of sequins and Mariah Carey shit. Like, this is what gay heaven looks like.
Yeah, there's Mariah Carey, Prince. That is a commemorative card set from the first Chicago Bulls championship. The constitutional order that put the purge in place right there. Hangover 3 calendar from 2014. You can reuse
the best hangover. Yeah.
You can reuse 2014 calendars in 2025. Hot tip, everybody. And that's a fastball at Chet's poster. And we got another guest. Tiff Myers is here.
What's up, everybody? Hope you don't hear my kid losing her mind.
Was it as I was describing everything, she just like got more excited with each item?
So we got her a karaoke machine, and we didn't. An in-law got it for her because they fucking hate me. And she's now fucking crying into a karaoke machine like a fucking sorority girl on a Tuesday.
She's crying into it?
She's wailing and crying into it. She can barely speak, and now she's fucking wailing into a goddamn karaoke machine.
What a passive-aggressive gift to give. Like, don't you wish your kid was louder?
Yeah, that's bad times.
Luckily, it's Bluetooth, so we're going to take it to their fucking house and just have her cry there and yell into it.
I just love that she's crying into it. Is she like holding a microphone?
She's holding the microphone and crying into it now. Like, my wife got her to chill, but she's fucking just crying and yelling like just like a shitty night at the Liquid Zoo.
It's like a Yoko Ono album.
This is my favorite song. It's called fucking Wah.
So we are doing another local news roundup episode this week. That's where I go through headlines from a bunch of local news outlets around the country and try to find stories that aren't getting as much national attention as they deserve. Doing it with a twist this week. I know I promised that I was going to do a lot less politics on this pod going forward, and I probably still will, but also motherfuckers are doing Nazi salutes at CPAC and shit. And I'm not trying to be complicit or anything. So fuck it. Let's talk about Trump's America, a Trump's America edition of the local news roundup. This first story isn't directly Trump related, but it feels Trump related a little bit. Finally, Keith, a Tiff, finally, thanks to an app called Protectors, you can order up an armed motorcade to take you where you need to be safely, as easily as you can order an Uber. Available only in LA and New York City, because we're the best.
It's great that you can DoorDash a mass shooting now. Like, I didn't...
Sure is.
This is like the blockbuster movie of Uber, I think, where it's like the straight to DVD, like Steven Seagal shitty movies, where it's like, let's just have Baby's Day Out, but with guns.
What blew my mind about this is who's important enough that they need an armed like security detail, but also just didn't think about it until they were out on the town and they're like, I guess I'll use the app.
It's really counterintuitive in that way, because if you're rich enough to need security, you should have it already.
Yeah.
But I guess this is an option for new money. If you just came into your cash and you're testing out security options, you can pull up the Protectors app. I desperately want to try this, but it's very expensive.
Just to go to the grocery store and just be flanked by dudes with fucking AR-15s.
Well, here's the thing. I am doing my first stand-up show in a long time, over a year next month. And boy, would I love to pull up to Jeff's comedy show at a comic book store with an armed fucking motorcade and a dude in tactical gear.
You got to make them open for you if you do that. They're already on the clock. See if they got a tight 5.
Yeah, either that or they have to at least stand behind me on stage.
If one of them doesn't laugh at the jokes, you fire him and replace him with a different guy.
Yeah, I downloaded this app. It's fascinating.
Can you swipe right on who you want to protect you?
I'm glad you asked. There are several means of customizing your trip. You can decide how many protectors you want inside your car. I think the maximum is 5 because that's also the maximum number of protectors there are available. This is just 5 dudes.
Okay, it's not like they're just like Uber, where it's if you're unemployed and you own a gun, hit us up and you can just do it in your free time.
Not yet.
Can you pick the protectors? Can you filter it by race and stuff? Because I would go.
Oh, by race? Yeah, you can choose from 4 white dudes and an Asian guy.
Oh, okay. I was gonna go with the whole Muhammad Atta type and just freak out people.
Good luck.
Good for the Asian guy getting in there, man. Representation matters, you gotta.
They are all, I believe, former LAPD, which I don't like that part.
Oh, good.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to be in a car for 5 hours with LAPD for any reason at all.
Dude, no.
You can also pick the dress code, which is great. Your options are business formal, which is full-on suit, business casual, which is a blazer, no tie, and some khakis. It's chill. It's very chill. Tactical casual, which I don't think I need to tell anyone, is a polo shirt with tactical pants. So real dork store shit there.
That's just Proud Boy uniform, but they couldn't write that on the app. That's what they mean.
Yeah, it's weird that they're holding a tiki torch in the business casual.
Yeah, this option's just called Drag Show Enforcer.
And then there's Operator, which is full-on SWAT attire.
That's the funniest one. In what universe do you need that?
I would get those dudes if I was going to a strip club. I think that'd be the coolest fucking thing. They'd probably think I'm a Saudi prince.
Oh shit, that's a really good idea.
Right? They'd be like, who is this baller over here? Let's just all swarm them, and then I just don't pay for anything. I don't even get any dances. I just sit there.
That guy rolled in with SEAL Team 6 and he's still tipping $1 a girl.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Operator was not available as an option when I went on the app. You could scroll to it, but it just said currently unavailable. So I don't know if the helmets are still incoming or what.
They just ordered the little outfit from Amazon and it hasn't showed up yet. I wonder how customizable you could get the outfit. If you told them, look, I need 5 burly men with guns to protect me. I would like you dressed in little sailor outfits. Would they do it?
Yeah. Phillies jerseys all around.
Oh, my God. I would just send them pictures of, my Grand Theft Auto 5 avatar. I need you in leopard print bicycle shorts and a bulletproof vest. No shirt underneath and some flip-flops.
You can also have up to 3 cars in your motorcade. Here's the thing. KTLA, they went as far as scheduling a pickup as far as you can go without doing it. According to them, scheduling a pickup at their newsroom in Hollywood at 6 p.m. on a Saturday would cost $1,000. On the bright side, that is for 5 hours of protection. So you get to spend a significant amount of time with a scary fellow with a gun by your side.
That's a lot of money, but it seems low for what you're getting.
Yeah.
There's also a $129 annual membership fee. Here's the thing. I don't have a liquid $1,000 to spend right now, but if the people at home wanted to somehow fund this for me so I can take an armed convoy to Jeff's show next month, I will, over the course of a few months, pay that money back in the form of a charitable donation to whatever non-Nazi charity you want me to donate to.
Is it per person, though? Because, I mean, I think
that's the thing. You can take up to 5 people.
Yeah.
So at $200 a person?
But then are all 5 of you getting in one car?
Up to 3 cars.
Right. But I'm assuming 3 cars is going to be more expensive than 1,000. The KTLA thing, that was for 1 person, 1 car. So I figure it would be more than that. But how much more? Yeah.
How many people are actually using this app? I feel like you could haggle it down if you really wanted to.
Just negotiate when you get there.
Yeah.
Hey, Venmo me back $50, fuckface.
Imagine bullying the guy holding a gun that you told to show up armed.
Customer's always right, pal.
Is there a star system to rate these people?
Yeah, it's 5 stars if there's a fucking machine gun pointed at your head.
I want to know how many questions they ask, because the obvious application here is, well, I got these drugs I need to get across town.
Right.
Yeah.
Are they going to be like, what's in the bag?
Well, and what are the legal implications of like, okay, if I hire fucking goon squad to take me down to the Grove or whatever, and then they freak out and they shoot somebody because the shit pops off, am I like responsible for that, or is that on that? Like, it's so weird.
I wonder if that's in the TOC. What happens if they shoot someone?
I get the feeling they did not think this business plan out enough to have like a law plan.
You have to bail them out if they shoot someone.
Is it an auto 5 stars if they do shoot someone? Like, yo, you can't rate this below 5 if we actually shoot.
Not if he lives.
Yeah.
1 star, the guy didn't die.
Yeah, I desperately want to take an armed convoy to Jeff's comedy show next month. So if anyone at home listening wants to help make that happen, let's do it for charity, non-Nazi charities.
What are these Nazi charities that you're hearing about?
Oh, I mean, they got to be out there. Like anti-abortion stuff, fucking anti-trans stuff, any of that.
Yeah.
I just imagined it was somewhere where it was like making little tiny swastika armbands for poor children.
I went to like Frankensons, which is this nerd swap meet, and there was a lady selling Legos, but she had like Nazi character Legos.
What?
And I swear to God, she had like Nazi Legos. She had like a Trump Lego. She had like Nazi memorabilia in the middle of like regular Legos. So you can get like a Star Wars Lego set next to like a Nazi Lego set.
The Millennium Falcon docking at Auschwitz. Like,
I swear to God.
Were they assembled already? Or
they were fully assembled. Like there was one where like Trump was talking surrounded by Nazis. And like this lady was fucking flipping them. I swear to God. But she had the best Legos in Frankenstein. She had the best fucking.
It would have been very funny to just push one of those fucking things right off the shelf, like a cat.
Yeah.
They were behind glass
of water. Oh.
She was smart racist.
Oh. It would have been funny to kick the shit out of that glass and smash every one of those fucking Legos.
Shit, every fucking Lego imaginable. It was crazy.
Yeah,
nuts.
the Nazis are getting too comfortable. I don't like it.
They really are.
Yeah. All right, next story. Ex-NFL punter Chris Kluwe was arrested in Huntington Beach for protesting the inclusion of MAGA on a library plaque. Anyone familiar with Chris Kluwe?
The white Kaepernick.
Yeah, he's super fucking progressive dude.
Yeah.
Also probably got kicked out of the NFL for his politics.
Yes, he definitely did, because I think he was like very pro-gay and pro-trans, and the Vikings let him go.
Yeah, because their head coach, Leslie Frazier, is a huge homophobe, allegedly.
Good for him, man. Like, because like, he's the fucking kicker, so that's the easiest job you can have as far as being an athlete. Like, you work 4 times a week and you fucking get $1 million. So to like stand up for your shit so hard that you'll throw away that cush gig, like, I respect that.
And especially doing it at a time where coming out in support of same-sex marriage in the NFL, you do that on the right team, you're probably getting beat in the shower with bars of soap inside socks by a line of players.
Yeah.
And this is the fucking punter doing it. You're the most likely to get your ass beat.
You used to have like a really good blog on like Deadspin, like before athletes were actually trying to be in the media. So I think that could have also got him kicked out as well. But no.
Yeah. I feel like he did that after he was out of the league, though.
Was he? Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong. Not a fucking Chris Cluey expert.
What?
So, yeah, there is video of this, and I can't really do it justice by reading the quote, and it's also a little long, so I don't want to. So, in lieu of that, let's just play Chris Cluey's statement from the city council meeting. It's only a minute and a half long, and then we'll be right back.
Hi, my name's Chris Cluey, 15-year HB resident. I'm here to speak out against both the plaque and the current city council. As the community made clear at the Library Commission meeting last Tuesday, everyone is in favor of a plaque to celebrate the library, but the vast, vast majority are against including a MAGA acrostic. Okay? Unfortunately, it's clear that this council does not listen, so instead I'm going to take my time to say what MAGA has stood for these past 3 weeks. MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them at the VA, including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
Get the heck. Get out.
Oh, and we're back. That was good stuff.
What bums me out about this is that it's Huntington Beach, because like I'm from there. Like I grew up in Orange County and I lived in Huntington for a while. And like I don't know what happened, but Huntington Beach has like become this weird epicenter of like dumb Trump America bullshit. Like it's like every time you see like there's like an anti-mask like protest happening or like weird Nazi shit, it's always Huntington Beach. Like that's become the weird they elected Tito Ortiz to the city council. Like they're just profoundly dumb, and it's just weird seeing people try to be like the next wave of Hitler shit next to the boogie board store. Like it's too chill of a town for this level of energy.
Yeah, that's something I feel like the rest of the country doesn't take into account when it comes to Los Angeles. The further south you get, like the closer you get to Orange County, even LA starts to get a little Trumpy. Where I'm at in LA, Harris won this neighborhood by like 1 percentage point, which you don't usually think of LA as like 50-50. But like I had 2 neighbors right up the way from me who had Trump Vance flags on the front of their house during the election. So yeah, the closer you get to Orange County, and then once you hit Orange County, it's like super duper.
Yeah, that's
Trump
just
land.
That's just Fresno with puka shells. That's all it is. Like it's
yeah. And yeah, Chris Cluey, even when he played in the NFL, he was super progressive. And I also saw a thing on, I think it was Blue Sky. I'll try and find it and put it in the notes. But the New York Times reached out to him to interview him about this. And he was like, no, actually, you're Nazis too. You're part of the problem. He was like, I'll talk to one columnist that you have there who's on the right side of history. The rest of you can fuck off.
What a bad motherfucker, dude.
I love that shit. That's great.
I was bummed in the video he's not just kicking cops out of the way. Like he just uses all his punting power to just start kicking them through walls and shit.
Yeah, that would have been great. So, yeah, good for Chris Cluey. I don't know.
Man.
I mean, he'll be fine. He's
got NFL money.
Yeah, and he's already out of jail. What if he was still in jail?
The Nelson Mandela of Huntington Beach.
Yeah, Chris Cluey was found with a tire around his body and set on fire in custody. What? So yeah, that happened. Can you believe we're going to talk about Texas next? Who knew Texas would come up in the Trump's America? It's more like Musk's America episode.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
The split custody.
Yeah. I don't know if either of you are aware of this, but transgender athletes are arguably the biggest problem facing humanity right now.
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
It's a really dire situation.
That's why Joanna Man was a horror movie. Fucking scared the shit out of Republicans. They're like, "Oh, we can't let this happen."
A dire warning to us all.
Well, great news. Immediately upon taking office, Führer Trump signed an executive order banning transgender athletes from participating in women's and girls' sports. Whew, we really dodged a bullet there. In response, the NCAA changed their policy to one that states only athletes who were assigned female at birth can participate in women's sports. But is that enough? No. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton thinks it's not, because what fun is a law that's just going to target like a small handful of participants when you can expand it and make it really creepy and invasive for all participants? Well, all women athletes.
Yeah.
Men don't have to go through this shit. We're dudes.
No.
And all athletes on this call.
100%.
So,
That's a former athlete. Yeah.
played a little baseball as a kid.
D1 lacrosse right here. Come on.
Yeah, competitive hot dog eater. We all got things going on.
So along those lines, Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit calling for the NCAA to screen athletes before allowing them to play sports, just to make sure they're really God-fearing ladies.
Anybody who applies for this job of being like the junk checker should just be sent to prison immediately. Like, what is the qualification? It's just like, well, how are you ready to do this? It's like, well, I Googled what a pussy looks like, so I think I get the gist. Like,
Yeah.
this is the craziest shit I've ever read.
If nothing else, that should be the first question in the interview is, how do you think this works? And if they're like, I get to look at that pussy.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
FBI stands for Female Body Inspector. It's like that T-shirt I bought at Myrtle Beach.
Trans athletes, like they're really not running as rampant, right? Like, am I crazy?
No.
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Was it Leah Thomas? Is that the name of the swimmer everyone was up in arms about? And then I read the story, and I think Leah Thomas came in third, and the person who was so salty came in fourth or something like that. It's like,
You both lost.
yeah, you both lost.
I remember there was the Olympic weightlifter one, and like she came in like 12th place.
Yeah.
Like, they're not dominating.
No, not.
It's also, well, there's like this weird way we talk about female, not we, but like people who are like, we got to get the trans athletes out of here, where they talk about female athletes like they're these like 80-pound like little like wispy princess, like they're all Ariana Grande, and it's like, no, dude, female athletes are fucking scary. They're not. I watch women's hockey, and every one of those women could kill me without trying very hard. Like, they're gnarly. Like, you could put most dudes, not that trans women are dudes, but like somebody with a dick against them, and they're probably going to lose because they're like hardcore.
You ever play against like women basketball players?
Not going to believe this. I haven't played a lot of basketball.
Okay. I remember in college we would play pickup ball, and the women's team would pull up and we play against them. And they were the dirtiest fucking players. They would elbow. And it's like, yo, they are a threat and a menace. But they were dirty as shit.
The WNBA for sure, probably most women's college teams also, they typically practice against men.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. The WNBA especially, women's basketball in general is physical as fuck. It's like watching 80s NBA. They're still letting those girls pull each other down by their fucking ponytails, just like Jordan used to do to Ewing, and fucking clotheslining each other. Like, it's a violent sport. That's why when people were like, Caitlin Clark should have been on the Olympic team, Caitlin Clark would have got murdered if she even got put in a game on the international stage. She is not ready for that shit. She does not have the build for it. And also, in terms of transgender athletes, I think it was the president of the NCAA was like, I know of maybe 10 in like all of college sports. So it's like, what the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's like, well, didn't it take them forever to even be allowed to like pay NCAA players? Isn't that like a weird thing like that? So it took that long to give them any money, but all of a sudden it's like, this is where we're drawing the immediate line in the sand. It's
Republicans think like transgender athletes are like the movie Ladybugs. I don't know if you've seen Ladybugs, but they just assume that as soon as like as soon as a trans athlete joins, they're going to immediately dominate. But that's not the case. And they're kind of not giving enough credit to women that play sports or women's sports in general.
Well, they're not watching women's sports. Like they don't care.
Yeah, it's just such a nothing problem. It is an imaginary problem. It's not a problem.
If my daughter plays against a trans athlete in soccer, I would not give a fuck. And I would be like, you better compete your ass off. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to pull them off the team. Fucking, like, I don't know. I would not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's akin to like if the league banned leprechauns. It's just like it's not what's affecting the integrity of the game.
If they installed the Air Bud rule finally, and it's like we can't have dogs.
There's no rule that a dog can't play basketball, but there's like 12 that a trans woman can't.
And I guess my question to parents who are in support of this, what happens when your fucking kid still doesn't win?
Right, yeah.
After you've kicked trans athletes out of sports, then are you going to accept that maybe your child just fucking sucks at sports?
Yeah, your kid is trash at sports.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, it's weird for the movement that's like so anti like participation trophy and like snowflake or whatever. All of a sudden is like, well, you have to make it fair for the other. You know what I mean? It's when they collide with themselves. Like it's fascinating to watch the circles the right has to like tie themselves into to do this shit.
Yeah, and I don't know. I can't imagine being one of those people who's like, finally, we're safe. Thank you, President Trump. You've saved us from trans women participating in sports.
How do you think they would feel if it was like the opposite, right? Like if it was like a female to male.
That's what I want.
That just dominates. Like say they dominate soccer. And it's like that Amanda Bynes movies. There's so many movies about trans people in sports.
This is their only knowledge of it. It's just we got to keep the Amanda Byneses out of here.
They're like, she's the man will never happen, but we got to watch out for Joanna Man and Lady.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want a woman to come into, or trans.
Female to male, yeah.
Yeah. That would be, I mean, then they would just ban that too, because dudes aren't trying to be embarrassed out here.
It's fair. Yeah, it's fair.
Just picturing Elliot Page just crossing up LeBron and just like.
This is a quote from the lawsuit. In practice, the NCAA's lack of sex screening has allowed and will continue to allow biological men to surreptitiously participate in women's sports categories. End quote. Shut the fuck up.
If you are smart enough to know the word surreptitiously, you know that you're being stupid and lying. Like,
yeah. And just think of the cost of this. Now every school's going to have a person doing gender testing on all female athletes.
I want to picture it's just one guy with a big magnifying glass, like a cartoon detective. Professor Pussyfinder's on the case. Like.
Oh, man. Let's talk about Texas some more. There is something going around in Texas public schools right now called the Blue Bonnet curriculum, which sounds innocent enough. It's just a school curriculum that kindergarten through fifth grade teachers can follow. But it is also apparently just absolutely filthy with religion stuff, because you cannot teach math without God. He invented it, after all. And it includes all religions in theory, but guess which one it super duper favors?
Islam, obviously.
Yeah, Hinduism.
Like, which way's east? Okay, now start praying your times tables towards Mecca.
Here's a quote from Chloe Kemp, staff attorney at the ACLU of Texas. Schools can teach the Bible or about religions in school if it's from a historical, objective perspective. The problem with the Blue Bonnet curriculum is that it presents many aspects of Christianity as true, literal, historical record and does not do so for any other religions. And that's where it crosses the line into unconstitutionality. Remember the Constitution? That thing.
Yeah. Nick Cage stole it.
And look, this is all because Nick Cage stole the Constitution.
Yeah. We're fucked.
So opting into this curriculum is completely voluntary, but there are funding increases tied to using the Blue Bonnet curriculum. Schools get an extra $40 per student if they accept any curriculum from the creators of Bluebonnet, but it goes up to 60 per student if they go with Bluebonnet specifically. So that seems shady. Just the fact that there's financial incentive to choose one curriculum over another feels sketchy as fuck.
Yeah, if your God needs to be sold via like a payola bribing situation, he's not a very effective God.
Yeah. And one critic of this pointed to the, quote, strong component of American exceptionalism in the curriculum, which that's the idea that the United States is a unique and even morally superior country for historical, ideological, or religious reasons. And also, just joking, that was not a critic who brought that up. That was actually one of the justifications for this shit. Someone was like, but it's so pro-America. You kidding me? And they also added that it aligns with Texan values.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I just think the only thing I think that like could be good about this in the long term, in a weird roundabout way, is that like maybe it'll get rid of God. Because, like, I don't know, you think of the stuff you learned in school and you're like, well, school sucks. And I think that sucks. So maybe if you make God part of the curriculum, kids will just be like, oh, God fucking blows. I want to go do nitrous behind the Circle K. You know what I mean? Like, and just slowly we'll phase out God. It'll be like the Pythagorean theorem where you knew it in like 9th grade and then you forgot about it and never used it again.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Probably.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, kind of like the DARE program, how it made kids do more drugs if you went through DARE, which I can attest.
Did any of you guys ever go to Christian school?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, because like it was the high school. I went through high school because it was the only good school in the area. It fucking sucked.
I went in 7th grade, like for one like half year, and I remember we had science class, and I just didn't pay attention. And like the science teacher was being normal. He was teaching like real science, but I didn't know the answers on one of the tests. So I did just do the hustle of writing because God made it that way as the answer to stuff. And like, it didn't work, but it kind of almost worked. Like they had to have a meeting of like the staff where they were like, technically we believe that you're correct, but also we know what you're fucking doing. Like,
yeah, I never went to Christian school, but I did work at a health insurance company that was owned by the Catholic Church. Oof. And that was odd. When I started working there, they were like, we start every meeting with a prayer and you will have to lead that prayer from time to time. And I straight up said, no, I don't. And I fucking did. It's like, I'm not.
Fuck that.
Coming to work to pray. You can, and like I'm not like an atheist. I'm not like an anti-religion guy, but also I'm not fucking at work for that.
No,
that's weird. Your boss should not ask you to say grace. Like,
dude, this Christmas, like with my in-laws, because my actual family's Muslim, I didn't know that they were religious or they were going to have someone religious there. So I was jokingly before dinner, I was like, what are we going to say grace or some shit? And then we did, and I was like, this is fucking terrible. I don't want to hold this guy's hand.
I thought God didn't want me to be gay. Make up your mind, Bible.
But it's weird that these people are probably most likely anti-Sharia law, but they're instituting it. So like, it's very bizarre.
Well, yeah, it's really similar to how like Elon Musk not too long ago tweeted a thing about how when Hitler took power, the first thing he did is start doing a bunch of censorship. And it's like, dude, you're doing the same thing. Like it's the exact same thing with all of the anti-DEI stuff, all of the anti-trans stuff. That's all fucking censorship. And if you voted for one of these motherfuckers and you're too dumb to understand that, I don't know. You shouldn't vote next time. I don't know what we got to do to make it happen, but
I don't know if there's going to be a next time. So that might not be a problem.
So, of course, lots of legal rights groups have called on Texas school districts to shun the Bluebonnet curriculum. This is a quote from Daniel Mock, director of the ACLU program on freedom of religion and belief. School districts should steer clear of this deeply flawed Bible-infused curriculum. Public schools are not Sunday schools, and Texas students and their families deserve better. End quote. I mean, it depends on what Texas families we're talking about. Some of those motherfuckers don't deserve better.
Yeah, Texas doesn't even deserve Texas. Like, let's not get carried away.
They deserve their power grid. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Good idea, dummies. All right. Meanwhile, in the Dakotas, North and South both, lawmakers are setting their sights on another scourge on American society. Fucking librarians.
They've had it too good for too long.
Goddamn right. Just skating by unchecked all these years.
These fucking word pimps.
Yeah. I haven't needed a librarian since before the internet, when you could just call the library and be like, hey, what's the capital of Alabama? They'd fucking look it up and tell you. Those were the days. I bet they'd still do it if you call a library.
They should be excited somebody remembered libraries existed.
Yeah. Aside from someone just trying to like have a place to hang out for the day because they don't have anywhere to live.
I looked up how many libraries are actually in North Dakota. It's quite a few. I was like, how many can it fucking possibly be? Like 8? I don't know.
It's just one library and the whole government's like, fuck that lady.
Sorry. I was like, it's not a very population dense area. There's got to be like maybe like fucking a dozen at the most. And there's quite a few. I was pleasantly surprised. Sorry.
Yeah, I think
I'm fucking dumb.
South Dakota might, but what is the population of North Dakota? I feel like it's
I'm going to call the library and see if they
people
know.
in the entire state. Yeah.
Yeah.
800,000 people in the entire fucking state.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand why you'd wonder how many libraries there were.
Like,
Not even 1 million in South Dakota, 924,000 in
I'm saying that's like 4 WrestleManias amount of people. It's not a lot.
Such a good way to measure population.
And yeah, I used to live in South Dakota in Sioux Falls, the biggest city, which I think has like 100,000 people.
One WrestleMania.
Yeah, it is.
With a remainder of a SummerSlam. Like,
It is definitely a very conservative area. So in South Dakota, legislators advanced a bill recently that would remove legal protections for libraries and other institutions if children view books that meet the legal definition of harmful to minors. Currently, libraries, museums, schools, things of the like are exempt from prosecution under laws regulating obscenity and disseminating harmful material to children. Think of it this way. The odds of a kid seeing a rogue titty at a museum are off the charts. It's art. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Under this law, museum employees who failed to protect our children would be subjected to prosecution that could result in a year of jail time and a $2,000 fine.
Jesus.
Yeah.
This is, again, like when I lived in Saudi Arabia, there was a guy whose whole job is to like censor magazines and comic books. So like he would just take a black marker and just fucking cross out titties or like cleavage or anything. And it's like, they're probably going to hire that guy to do this shit. This is crazy.
Do you think he was jerking off when he was doing it?
Oh, for sure. Like, or he definitely had a stash just for himself. Like,
Did he have to do each book?
yeah, each and everything. There's like a whole group of people whose whole job is to just censor shit. And my friend was related to the prince, so he got porn. So our minds were fucking blown in the middle. Like he just had to hook up for porn because they weren't gonna fucking go after the royal family.
that's such a different, like, I found porn as a kid story. In America, it's like you just went into the woods and somebody left it there. In Saudi Arabia, you have to be tied into the royalty.
Yeah, and then it's like, cool, don't snitch or we might lose our fucking hands. Like
They just cut off the right one.
So this bill has passed the South Dakota House of Representatives. It's now moving on to the Senate. One Republican who voted against it, the unfortunately named Drew Peterson, noted that the state's legal definition of harmful material does not require criminal intent to justify a prosecution. Here's a quote. If a librarian accidentally allowed a student to take an anatomy book home or an encyclopedia with a picture of a naked human being, they could potentially be charged with a year in jail. That's why I'm voting no. End quote. Another Republican objector, Will Mortensen, said, we're locking up librarians, folks. We're not growing the state. We're not helping our people. We're locking up librarians in this bill. End quote.
jeez.
I bet it still passes.
Probably. You know it's bad when even, like, Republicans in the Dakotas are like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah. I bring this example up all the time, but I know we tend to get kind of a skewed vision of what the population of a state is like just based on their government. South Dakota has obviously a very conservative government. And I don't know if this is how things would go now, but when I lived there in 2006, they tried to pass a really strict abortion ban, but just through the legislature without people being allowed to vote on it. And the people were like, fuck that. We should be able to vote on this. And there was like a referendum that was voted on to see if that would actually be taken to a vote. And it passed. And the people voted to overturn that ban, which you wouldn't expect from South Dakota. Or like how, was it Kansas shot down a bunch of abortion ban laws, I believe?
So, yeah. That happened a bunch like this election, like where it was like Trump smoked Kamala, but then like in a lot of states it was like there were like these sort of left ear things about like abortion and like drug legalization and stuff that like the people clearly supported like the more progressive opinion on. It's a weird cognitive dissonance between the two things.
Yeah, I think voters are more complex than we tend to give them credit for, because people always see that thing where, oh, well, everyone in this county voted for this president, but most of them voted for like the other side in congressional stuff. Why would that happen if it's not fraud? It's like, because sometimes motherfuckers think for themselves and they can vote for one party and another party at the same time. Crazy, fucking crazy, but it happens. So meanwhile, North Dakota, a slightly less harsh bill, has already passed. Senate Bill 2307 would require public and school libraries to remove explicit content from main areas of the library to areas, quote, not easily accessible to minors.
They got to have a beaded curtain like the porn at a video store?
Exactly.
Or like Spencer's Gifts, yeah.
You want to find out how a butt works, you got to go back here.
And yeah, that beaded curtain never made me want to storm right through that fucking beaded curtain and see what was in there.
Oh, no, not at all. It didn't look fun in there at all.
No, it's definitely not going to be a Streisand effect kind of thing in real life. This bill would also require all libraries to have a review process for removal of content that parents find objectionable. And if that review doesn't end the way parents want, it allows for them to directly petition the local state's attorney to have the case reviewed further. The library would have 10 days to comply if a violation is found to have occurred, and state funding would be withheld if those libraries do not comply.
But like, what is explicit at a library?
That's the thing. Laws like this are never clear on what that definition is.
Well, and it seems like other states have been using this as like a backdoor way to remove like anything that would expose kids to the idea of gay people existing or like these sort of like, you know, they're trying to kind of use the protect the children from pornography thing as a scapegoat to really push what the actual agenda is.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a quote from Sean Cleary, another Republican who opposes this bill. States attorneys prosecute crimes. They don't manage book collections. Dragging them into this waste resources turns library disputes into legal battles and invites government overreach into what should be local decisions. End quote. Bill was sponsored by Senator Keith Boehm, a Republican. This is a quote from him during the debate over this bill. To fight this battle against the pornographers, pedophiles, and groomers, we must cover this issue comprehensively. Not every library in the state has this material, but there is enough to support this legislation. End quote. To which Sean Cleary responded, we should trust parents, school boards, and city commissions to make the best decisions for their communities. And for the record, librarians, teachers, they're not pedophiles. They're not pornographers, and they are not groomers. End quote. I like Sean Cleary. Seems like a good dude.
You're not even allowed to talk to librarians. I mean, they're not really grooming anybody.
Yeah. They kind of demand silence.
Who are these pornographers who are making all the big money on books in 2024 or 5, whatever year it is? Who cares? We're going to die. The point is, like, it's dumb.
Yeah. This is a very stupid law. And yeah, it is going to end in fucking librarians go like, this is satanic panic shit all over again.
100%.
Yeah.
And what's unfortunate about the satanic panic and its highly underrated follow-up, shaken baby syndrome, those were both started by the same fucking parents group.
Wait, is shaken baby syndrome? I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Like,
yeah, me
was
neither.
was that fake?
Kinda, because
You can shake a baby?
Here's the thing.
I didn't do it.
With shaken baby
That should be
syndrome,
the headline of this episode. Adam Todd Brown is pro shaking babies.
no, I've already done an episode on this, and that's obviously not what anyone is saying, that you can violently shake a baby and they'll be fine. But there's a documentary out there about it called The Syndrome. Think about that demonstration. Like, everyone's seen it, where the guy's shaking the doll back and forth. And think about how that baby's head, that doll's head, is flopping back and forth.
Right.
That's going to fuck a baby's neck right up.
Yeah.
Anytime a parent has been sent to prison for shaken baby syndrome and there's no neck injuries, that baby was not shaken. What happened is this same group that pushed the satanic panic got it in doctors' heads, like actual doctors, that if you see these 3 symptoms in a baby, it can only be shaken baby syndrome.
Oh,
Like,
shit.
They would have you believe that falling onto a hard floor from a distance cannot cause the same kind of injuries, when of course they could. The symptoms they're talking about can be caused by vitamin D deficiency. But because they successfully got it in all these doctors' heads that if you see these 3 symptoms, it's child abuse and you have to call the police. And now the police show up and they have this doctor who's like, this is definitely shaken baby syndrome. And they get these parents in this room and are like, fucking confess to what you did. We know you did it. And hundreds of parents went to prison over that shit. And it is garbage science.
I had no idea about any of that. That's crazy.
No, and I'm a parent.
Yeah, that's what's so scary about it. People should watch that documentary because they talk to a bunch of parents who are like, yeah, we took our daughter to the hospital, and next thing you know, we're being accused of murder and we're in prison. There's people still in prison for that shit. And yeah, anytime, like, if there's neck injuries, yeah, that baby was shook. But without the neck injuries, it's probably not shaken baby syndrome, because baby's head would pop the fuck off. You shook them like that.
Yeah, sure.
Stupid floppy necks.
They do.
So, all right, next story. Remember the First Amendment, the one Republicans swore was super important, like the most important one beside the guns? Well, never mind. Censorship para todos. A judge in Clarksdale, Mississippi, Crystal Wise Martin, ordered a local newspaper to remove an editorial it published that was critical of the mayor and city leaders after those officials sued. The editorial was called Secrecy, Deception, Erode Public Trust, and it criticized the city for not sending the newspaper notice about a meeting the city council held regarding a proposed tax on alcohol, marijuana, and tobacco. This feels like a thing where if this was actually libel or defamation, then you should just sue for that.
Yeah.
Right.
This feels like just straight up censorship to me. And the lawsuit filed by the city called the editorial libelous and said it chilled and hindered the city's efforts to lobby for the tax with state legislatures. So just fucking sue for libel then, if that's true.
Yeah, you don't have to do the weird Nazi roundabout thing of like using the government to shut down the free press. Like,
yeah, this actually reminds me a whole lot of the Brett Favre Mississippi welfare fraud scandal. Keith, are you familiar with that?
Vaguely. I don't know all the details of it, but I remember it being a
He's
thing.
basically accused of, well, the state of Mississippi is accused of diverting funds that were meant to go to welfare to Brett Favre so he could build a volleyball stadium at his daughter's college. And it was this
What a cartoonishly evil thing to do.
It's like cartoonishly evil is the exact way to put it, because at the time when it was happening, Mississippi also had like the lowest approval rate for welfare, even though they were one of the poorest states in the nation. It's because they were shipping these funds off to other shit. And what's really crazy about that story, the only people who ever went to jail over that scandal are the reporter who broke the story and her editor for not revealing their sources. No one else went to prison.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So this kind of shit's happening all over the place. I feel like maybe I talked about it on another local news roundup episode, but in Kansas, a sheriff got salty about a article a local newspaper wrote and basically raided them, had like a search warrant, and like went in and like took their computers and shit just because he didn't like the story they wrote.
Are you worried?
Am I worried?
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. Well, everyone should be.
Like, we're doing shit like this. Like, oh, we need pseudonyms.
Yeah, kind of. Like, is that what it's going to come to? It seems like it probably will.
I stand behind my convictions on this episode, or my name isn't Connor McSpadden.
And I am Ramsey Badawi.
I've been your host, Tom Goss. Tom will be fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tom's off the grid, dude.
Yeah, no one's going to find that motherfucker.
If they want to catch him, Tom, that's like trying to arrest Bigfoot. Fucking good luck.
Yeah, no. Unless you're fighting in a bar, then he pulls up like Roadhouse.
Yeah, he comes through the wall like shitty Kool-Aid man and just starts doing tiny Krav Maga. Krav Magas.
All right. This last story is not Trump related. I figure we will end on some good news. Julian Hernandez and his son got lost while hiking in southern Utah recently. How crazy would it be if I just stopped there? That's your good news, everybody.
Trump reads a Mexican got lost and is like, this is good news.
And so in an effort to not die because they didn't have all the shit you would need to go hiking, Hernandez and his son started looking for shelter to survive the night. And that's when they saw it, a green backpack just stocked with literally everything they needed short of like a helicopter. What happened back in January, a 15-year-old kid named Levi Dittman was planning to hike in the same area, and he got stuck trying to climb a really steep ravine. Rescuers found him, but he had to leave his backpack behind. This is a quote. I kind of just had to leave it there, which was a bit frustrating because I think at the time it was $200 to $300 worth of stuff. End quote. And as luck would have it, that is exactly where Julian Hernandez and his son got stuck. So they go off into the night looking for just any sort of shelter and find a backpack that has fucking everything in it. It had Pop-Tarts, Cliff Bars, bandages, an emergency tent, water. That's crazy.
You got to send that guy who left the backpack like some cash if you're this dude, right?
Absolutely.
At least like a Starbucks gift card or something. Like give him some shit.
Either that or file a lawsuit for custody of the backpack. Be a real asshole about it. Listen, I know it's yours, but I got sentimental value to me. You know, it saved my life.
Under the legal statute of finders keepers, this is my fucking backpack.
Also, you're 15. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Imagine getting a mulligan on a dead kid. Like, this guy was fully about to, like, let his son die in the woods, and it's like, all right, you get one do-over.
Yeah, I'm always shocked when people go hiking and shit like this and don't bring the stuff they need. It's like,
yeah, no.
What the fuck are you thinking? Like, yeah,
it's not like you can walk over there. It's hard to get to places where you can get lost. So surely you would have put in enough thought to like pack a bag.
Dude.
Yeah. What this kid said is the map makes it look like this area is all flat, and it's not. It's like actually super treacherous to pass. And that's what happened is he got deceived by the map. Democrats making their fake news maps. Getting 15-year-old kids stranded in the desert. We got to save the children.
This is why we're outlawing cartographers. They're all going to prison with the librarians.
But like, don't you know how you got in? I don't know. Like,
turn around is how you get out of this.
Right. I've done some shit like this, and I was in Appalachian Mountains hiking with my friend, and after a while it started like hurricaning, and we were like, let's get the fuck out of here. So we just walked like the 13 miles back and landed at a Chinese buffet, but we knew where the fuck to go. I don't know.
This just supports my long-standing philosophy that nature is bullshit and we don't need it. I am firmly anti-outside. Like, nature's bad. That's why we keep building better stuff on top of it. Like, that, you can't trust the woods.
Do you remember the story? It happened closer to San Francisco, but that it was a husband and wife, their kid, and their dog, and they went hiking, and eventually they were just like found dead on the trail. And for the longest time, no one could figure out what killed them. And it ended up being hyperthermia because they didn't bring enough water. And when they set out on this hike, the temperature was like hot, but not like crazy hot. But at one point, there's apparently just like no shade. And it gets super, super sunny and hot for a really long stretch. And it got to be in like the hundreds while they were out hiking. And they just fucking died because they didn't bring enough water.
Shit. Even the dog?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I thought the dog would have gotten thirsty and been like, all right, I'm out of here. Fuck you, woof woof. And just go find water. Dog's smart.
Fucking start walking back. I don't know. Like, there's nothing there.
It was like an 8-mile trail. And I imagine they probably got like halfway when they realized they were in trouble because they were 1 mile from their car when they were found. The wife was found like further up the trail. And then the dad, the kid, and the dog were all found next to each other. I really brought the room down again, I feel like.
You opened this segment with, and finally some good news. And it ended with a dead child holding its dog.
Well, at least that didn't happen to Julian Hernandez and his son, you know?
Fucking big ups, J-Dog.
That's true. We found a bunch of Pop-Tarts in the woods. Don't go fucking hiking.
I've gone hiking like once, and it was recently, and it was at a spot where you could like just go high enough and see your car. Like,
right.
There was like a neighborhood nearby, but shit like this, no thank you.
It's not worth it to die in a manner so depressing you end up on this podcast just to, I don't know, see some cool rocks. Like, go to the zoo, man. There's other ways to engage with nature.
Dude, look at YouTube or go to the aquarium. You can fantasize about eating the fish. That's what I do. I just think about which one looks delicious.
I think the same shit every time I go to the aquarium. I'm like, I bet that guy tastes awesome.
Yeah. And then you say that out loud and people look at you like you're crazy, but I don't give a fuck. They all look so good.
Yeah, it's like you guys are like, if nobody would shame you, we'd all jump in there and grab one and dip it in butter.
I was judging a like internet video competition at West Side Comedy Theater once. And one of the videos, I'll try and find it and link to it in the show notes. I'm sorry, I don't remember what the name of the group that did it was, but it was these two dudes and they were out on a hike and they just get like minorly lost, like not a big deal at all. And one of them just starts freaking out about how they're going to have to drink piss. And the guy's like, what? I feel like if we just go up high enough, we'll find our car. And he turns around and the guy's opened his backpack and he's just got containers of piss. And he's like, don't worry, it's not mine. It's so fucking funny.
That's all he brought was a backpack full of piss.
It was actually all he brought. So yeah, I think a Tiff's right. Don't go hiking. Don't.
Yeah. Nah, over it.
Stay. I mean, you can hike, but like, you know, on city streets.
No. Yeah, go for a walk.
Dude, there's rattlesnakes at Griffith Park. Like, I saw a rattlesnake at Griffith Park. Never going there again. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
That's a good way to end. Stay the fuck inside in Trump's America. Just for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, it's probably safer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. That is our episode. We did it. A Tiff, Keith, thank you both for doing the pod. I appreciate it. What do we have to plug before we get out of here? All I'm plugging is follow me on Blue Sky, adamtoddbrown.bsky.social. That's Todd with 1D, because I want to get off all the other platforms, but I got to have a following somewhere, you know? That's all I got.
Sorry, I'm at Keith Tells Jokes on Instagram. That's pretty much the only one I use at this point. I'm also going on tour. If you go over to my Instagram, you can see links to my shows. I'm going to Detroit, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, a bunch of other ones. So at Keith Tells Jokes on Instagram. Come out to the show.
Nice. A Tiff.
At a Tiff Myers on Instagram and Blue Sky. I don't know the whole Blue Sky link like you do. Podcasts coming out here on this network soon called Sus Stories about comic books that are weird as shit.
That's a good idea for a show.
And I think that's it. Let's get the fuck out of here. A Tiff, say goodbye.
Bye.
Keith, say goodbye.
Later.
Bye, everybody. We love you.